Today, I want to share some ideas with you to stimulate your thinking and offer new perspectives. We all have the ability to transform and improve our lives through a shift in our thoughts and beliefs. This video presents ideas and practices for healing and enriching one's life. At the heart of this approach is the importance of self-love, self-acceptance, forgiveness, and letting go of past limitations. The underlying message is that our thoughts and beliefs create our reality. By choosing positive mindsets, we can cultivate lives of greater joy, fulfillment, and well-being. The content also provides specific exercises, such as affirmations in front of a mirror, to help listeners practically apply these principles. The aim is to empower people with the understanding that they have the innate capacity to change and uplift their lived experience. Let us affirm together that we are open and receptive to new ideas and new ways of looking at life. I've often thought how beneficial it would be if these subjects could be taught in school from the very first grade. Think how helpful it would have been if, as a child, you were taught how to think, how to use your mind, how to have self-esteem and self-worth, how to have loving relationships, how to be a good parent, and how to manage your finances. Just think how wonderful it would be to have a whole generation of adults who knew these things and manifested these truths. Most of us weren't taught these essential life skills as children. So let's share some of these ideas now, because it's never too late to learn, and this is always the right moment. Life is really very simple. What we give out, we get back, and what we believe about ourselves becomes true for us. Our thinking creates our experiences. There is a law of thinking like everything else in nature. There is a universal energy or love of mind or subconscious mind, whatever you want to call it. To me, it means the power that is within me and around me transforms my thoughts into experiences. We are all responsible for everything in our lives. Every thought we think and every word we speak is creating our experiences and our future. It's almost as though every time you think a thought or you speak a word, that universal intelligence or energy is listening and responding to what you are thinking, believing, or saying without judgment or criticism, totally accepting us at our own value. Whatever we choose to believe becomes true for us. When we are little, we learn what to think about ourselves and what to believe about life from the adults around us. When we grow up, we have a tendency to recreate in our emotional life the emotional environment we had as children. This is not good or bad, right or wrong. It just means that is what we believe to be true for us. We also have a tendency to treat ourselves the way our parents treated us. We scold and punish ourselves because it's like a classroom where we have lessons to learn. We choose our sex, our color, our country, and then look around for the perfect set of parents that will mirror the lessons and paths we came to work on. We choose these people as the perfect mirror for our work. Most of us, when we grow up, have a tendency to point our fingers at our parents and say, "You did it to me, it's all your fault." However, the point of power is always in the present moment. What you choose to begin to think right here and now is going to create tomorrow, next week, next month, and next year. The past has no power over us. The point of power is in this present moment, and we can begin to be free right here and right now. We do choose our own thoughts. We may not think so, but we do. It seems to me that almost everyone who comes to me with chronic pain is dealing with old guilt. Love, joy, and forgiveness are the big healers. They all come from the heart. The heart represents love, and the blood in the body is joy. A normal, healthy heart lovingly pumps joy throughout the body, nourishing all the cells and organs and creating a loving, joyous atmosphere for the cells to do their work in. If a heart has lost its ability to express love and joy, forgiveness will open the door. Most of our problems come from the inability to forgive. One of the first things I like to do with people when there is a problem is to have them begin to say, "I am willing to change the pattern in my consciousness that is creating this condition. I'm going to repeat that because it's very important. When you have a problem you wish to change, begin by saying to yourself, I am willing to change the pattern in my consciousness that is creating this condition. This simple sentence begins to get things moving. The universal power, the universal energy, the law of life will begin to work for you. One of the things we want to do is to begin to release the pain of the past, to let it go, and to be willing to forgive. The Course in Miracles says that all illness comes from a state of non-forgiveness, and that whenever we are ill, we need to look around to see who it is we need to forgive. This does not necessarily mean condoning poor behavior, but forgiveness opens the door to healing. We need to figure out what the problem is. You may think you know the problem. You don't care for the weight of your body. You have an illness. You can't get your money act together. You're lonely. You have a relationship that's not working, you don't like your job, or you want to do something very different. And to me, these are all outer effects of an inner thought pattern that is creating them. If we spend our time just looking at the outer effects and working with those, we miss the opportunity to create real change. We need to come from a position of choice because all of life is choice. We want to be aware of that. I'd like to take the word should and put it in the wastebasket, throw it in the fire, or put it in the trash, whatever you want to do. Remove it from your vocabulary forever and replace it with the word could, because could gives us choice. Now, it is true that sometimes it might be better for us to do something, but basically we still have a choice. If we don't do it, at least we're not wrong. So let's not berate ourselves or belittle ourselves for it anymore. This one little tiny exercise can show us so much about ourselves. What can be dropped now from your should list? The next thing we want to do is to see where we are on the ladder of self-love. I'm not talking about vanity and arrogance because that is not love. That's a form of fear. I'm talking about respect and acknowledgement for this beautiful being that we are. We want to look at how we do not love ourselves and why. We think that something is wrong with us. If our marriage ends, we believe it's all our fault and that we're not good enough. If we have 1 or 2 dates with somebody and they never call again, we think something is wrong with us. And sometimes we're afraid to ask for a raise, or our bodies may not match the latest fashions, and we think we're not good enough. If we don't make the sale or get the part, we think we're not good enough. If we have a fear of intimacy, we often feel what's coming up is a difficult exercise to do. I used to criticize myself all the time when I looked in the mirror. I spent endless hours plucking my eyebrows to make myself barely acceptable. I was also frightened to look into my own eyes. Are you like that? Is this a difficult exercise? To me, this is one of the signs of not loving ourselves, and this is the only real problem we have. The next question is, where does this come from? Where do we get those ideas? How did we go from the perfection of a tiny baby who knew how wonderful it was to the feeling of being unlovable, unworthy, and not good enough? And I like to think of us all as being like a rose. If you think of this flower, this gorgeous rose, from the time it is the tiniest little bud until it becomes a full-blown flower, at no point is that rose not perfect. At every stage it is perfect and beautiful. If we could just learn to love ourselves at every stage of our development, we would find life so much easier. We need to stop going into yesterday's mental garbage to create tomorrow's experiences. The next exercise I'd like you to do is to make a list of all the things your parents said were wrong with you, all the negative messages you got. Then turn off the tape and give yourself some time to let things come up. Think about the things that were said or implied about your body, your abilities, love, money, your creative talents, and things like that. Also, look for the negative messages you heard as a child, mostly before the age of 10, from your relatives, teachers, friends, church, and other sources. Take some time to do this, and as you're doing it, notice your body and how it is reacting and feeling. These messages that you have written down are the very thoughts that make you feel not good enough. Our life scripts are based on our early messages, and until we can find those messages, we can't change our lives. And all that is finished, it's over, it's in the past. If we just go into blame, we stay victims, and that's no fun. Blame keeps the problem, it keeps us stuck in the problem. Understanding lets us rise above it. The past cannot be changed, and the future is shaped by our current thinking. Our freedom in the here and now depends on us. We are never really satisfied with our present moment. We want to be thin, we want to be rich, we want to have a lover, we want a better job, we want more beauty. We have to start with self-acceptance and self-approval right now. If we do not approve of ourselves, why should anyone else? And if we love ourselves, we are more likely to attract more love and beauty into our lives. The next thing I'd like you to do is to find your pattern. Go back over the messages you wrote down earlier and see if you can see patterns. And did you get similar messages from different sources? Maybe your parents said one thing and your teachers or friends said another thing that sounded the same. If you can find a pattern, you will be able to see how deep-rooted these beliefs are. Once you can see the pattern, you can start to change it. You can make new choices. To me, the heart of healing is to be willing to forgive and to be willing to love. We don't need to wait for someone else to do it first. We can begin today, right here and right now. The willingness to let go of the past, to forgive ourselves and others, and to love ourselves is the key to transformation and healing. It's not always easy, but it is always worth it. You are worth loving. You deserve to be loved and cherished. You are perfect just the way you are. Let's affirm together that we are open and receptive to new ideas and new ways of looking at life. Let's choose to love and accept ourselves right now. And so it is, the willingness to let go of the past, to forgive ourselves and others, and to love ourselves is the key to transformation and healing. It's not always easy, but it is always worth it. You are worth loving. You deserve to be loved and cherished. You are perfect just the way you are. Let's affirm together that being open and receptive to new ideas and new ways of looking at life is possible. Choosing to love and accept ourselves right now can start a positive change, and so it is. If these ideas resonated or sparked new thoughts, consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel. Stay connected for more content that supports growth and well-being. Your engagement helps reach more people who can benefit from these messages. Thank you for being here.